Russian President Vladimir Putin has made an early exit from the G-20 summit in Brisbane, saying he needed to catch up on sleep before going back to work on Monday. But critics are calling it a weak excuse after Putin faced stern words from a number of world leaders. Joining me now from Dunedin is international relations expert Professor Robert Patman. Good morning, Robert.
Good morning, Michael.
Now, what did you think of the "I need a bit of sleep, so I need to leave early" concept?
I think he was feeling the heat, quite frankly. In Russia, I think he's in a position where he calls the shots quite a lot, and I think he was not used to getting the sort of cold shoulder treatment that he was getting at the G20 meeting in Brisbane. Virtually all the leaders cold shouldered him, and the ones who spoke to him told him to get out of the Ukraine, such as Stephen Harper, the Canadian leader. And the message was quite plain. Mr. Obama was outspoken about what he called Russian aggression towards the Ukraine, and many other leaders, including Mr. Cameron. Mr. Cameron apparently had a 50-minute meeting, the British leader, and that was the prelude to Mr. Putin deciding he had to leave.
Do you think he cares, though, Putin? He controls the media in Russia, doesn't he? So it doesn't really matter to him in some sense.
Well, I think your question is a good one. In a sense, Mr. Putin's popularity is based on the fact that he's standing up for Russia, and certainly his annexation of the Crimea and his assertive policy towards the Ukraine has proved domestically popular. I think, however, what is indicating it's all very well to take a tough line against the Americans or particular Western states, but when you're effectively the G20, when the G20 is up against Putin, I think that changes the scenario, because what Mr. Putin is effectively saying is he's right and the rest of the world is wrong, and I'm not sure how well that message will play given his deteriorating economic situation in Russia.
So how bad is the situation in Russia? They're very dependent on oil, aren't they? And the oil price has just been plummeting, hasn't it?
Yeah, Russia's not too far short of a substantial financial crisis. It's got zero growth. Something like the Russian central bank has just said in the last 2 days that capital flight, that's the amount of investment leaving Russia, will be $128 billion this year. The ruble has lost 23% of its value in the last 3 months. And the sanctions which the Western countries are applying are really hurting the oil and banking sectors of the Russian economy, as well as the elite individuals around Putin. So I think economically Russia is all set for zero, even negative growth in 2015, and that could spell political disaster for Mr. Putin and his hold over power.
What about John Key's performance at G20 relating to Putin and Russia, and the warning to Fonterra not to take advantage of the sanctions?
Well, I think from Mr. Key's point of view, several things were very positive. The free trade agreement with South Korea was nicely timed at the G20 summit, and his language, his warning, he had a meeting apparently with Mr. Putin over dinner, or at least he caught Mr. Putin's attention and expressed his concern about the Ukraine, but he did so in terms which were more moderate than many of the other Western leaders. And of course, New Zealand is in a different position, as your question indicated. We're not part of the sanctions being applied to Russia by many Western countries, and therefore, in a sense, we're not in the same category. And I think Mr. Key was very anxious to demonstrate to his partners in G20 that New Zealand would not be taking advantage of that situation, that anomaly.
OK, thanks very much for your time there. That's Robert Patman,
Thank you.
The international relations expert.